Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. This is a very significant day for the people of New York, and it's great to see so many of you who've joined us on this beautiful afternoon. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize some of our special guests who are here today. Our host today, Ken Davis in the Mount Sinai Medical Center. We also have, you can clap. Be forewarned, I have a rather long list, so we could probably hold our applause till the end, okay? Congressman Adriano Espaillat is here. Senator Marisol Alcantara is here. Senator Brian Benjamin. Assemblymember David Buchwald. Assemblymember Carmen De La Rosa. Assemblymember Shelley Mayer. Assemblymember David Weprin. Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer. I'll let that one go. Anytime, Gail. Mario Cilentro, the president of the New York State AFL-CIO. Jill Ferrillo, executive director of the New York State Nurses Association. George Gresham, who couldn't be with us today, and the members of 1199 SCIU. Dennis Rivera, the chair for the Partnership for Quality Care. Ken Rasky, the president of the Greater New York Hospital Association. B. Grouse, the president of the Hospital Association of New York State. Robin Chappelle Goldston, CEO of Planned Parenthood Empire State Acts. Advocates and providers of the healthcare community from all across the state. And Melissa DeRosa, secretary to the governor, and Dr. Howard Zucker, the commissioner of New York State Department of Health. Let's give them all a warm welcome here today. It goes without saying that the bill that's been put forward in our Congress to repeal the Affordable Care Act would have devastating consequences for the people of New York State. As for me, the governor sent me to Washington as recently as March to try and talk to members from the New York State delegation to try and convince them how dire this could be for their constituents and the people of our state. The bill rolls back the progress that we've made to provide affordable and quality health care for all New Yorkers, and it goes against everything we believe in. People in this state are frightened. I literally, this morning, at the governor's request, was with people in a very small rural hospital on the Canadian border in upstate New York, talking to them about this. They're afraid. I was with members of the nurses union, the doctors, the professionals. They're afraid. They're looking to us for answers. Fortunately for us, under leadership of Governor Andrew Cuomo, New York State is fighting back. And we are so fortunate to have leaders join with us today who are right at his side in that battle. This afternoon, we'll hear from Governor Andrew Cuomo and leaders from across New York, including our Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, the Mayor of the City of New York, Bill de Blasio, and New York State Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie as well. With the support of these leaders, we will send a powerful message to Washington and across the nation that we will not stand idly by while you take away our health care and hurt the people of our state. So, ladies and gentlemen, the leader of this battle, the 56th governor of the state of New York, join me in a warm welcome for Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be back at Mount Sinai. I want to thank them for hosting today, and Ken Davis. Let's give them a round of applause for their hospitality. Do we have 1199 in the house today? Are they here? I don't know. Is this working, this microphone? Do we have 1199 in the house today? Do we have the nurses in the house today? Do we have our union brothers and sisters in the house today? Well, it is really, really an important issue that we're talking about today, and a campaign that we're starting today. We're starting it here in New York City. We're going to take it all across the state, because it literally goes to the health and well-being of New Yorkers. And it is very simple, and it is very clear. And we're going to make sure we step up to this one, and we step up together. Let's give a big round of applause to our Attorney General, who's going to lead us in this fight, Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. Our colleague in this battle, Mayor Bill de Blasio. My colleague from Albany, who's doing a great job, Speaker Carl Hastie. All the elected officials, the Ken Rasky, all the health organizations. Today is very simple. Sometimes it's simple. Yesterday I was up in the Adirondacks, which is a beautiful part of the state. By the way, if anybody wants to vacation, there is no reason to ever leave the state of New York. Anything you can do right here in the state of New York. And we were up in the Adirondacks. I was on vacation yesterday. And we were having a lot of fun, horseback riding, rafting, promoting the Adirondacks. Few of the local electeds were up there. Senator Brian Benjamin was up there. New senator, he was in the whitewater rafting. Scared to death. All he did was hold on to the raft. Finished the end of the river, his paddle was still dry. I said, Senator, you got to paddle. This is not the Senate. You got to actually put your paddle in the water and you actually have to work. So we had a lot of fun. And I was walking along, and I had one of my daughters with me who just graduated college, Cara, and up comes this little 7-year-old girl who's all confident. She walked up to me and she said, I know who you are. You're the governor. With a certainty, yes, that's right. And then she lost the certainty. She said, but my mom didn't tell me what you do as a governor. So I was getting all ready with the answer in my head. Well, I enforce the Constitution and we pass a budget. My daughter steps in and says, the job of the governor is to protect the people of the state of New York. And to fight against things that would hurt the people of the state of New York. And it is that simple. And my friends, this health plan put forth by this Congress will hurt the people of the state of New York, and I'm going to do everything I can to fight this health plan. First of all, the health plan is not smart. It would cut $8 billion from Medicaid. You know what that means? We would bankrupt hospitals. That's what that means. That means the 1.2 million New Yorkers who work in health care would have their jobs jeopardized. It means the 20% of the state economy that is health care would be devastated if these cuts went through. And my friends, that just is not smart. It means these great teaching hospitals like Mount Sinai, that teaches hospitals that go all throughout the world, would be devastated. And you would affect the health care for the entire world, literally, when you decimate the New York healthcare system. And that is not smart. There's something called the Faso-Collins Amendment. Oh, you know Faso and Collins. Faso-Collins Amendment says, well, the counties don't have to pay their share of Medicaid. Save the counties $2 billion. But the state would have to pick up that $2 billion. Well, that's just an old-fashioned con game, right? Counties don't have to pay $2 billion. The state has to pay the $2 billion. What's the difference? Either you pay it through the county tax or the state tax, but it's the same money that you're going to pay. Faso and Collins, these are the guys who used to be on the corner with the card game. Remember those guys? They'd be moving the cards back and forth, or they'd be hiding the pea behind under the shell back and forth. And they'd let you look, and you'd look, and you got it right the first time. And then you got it right the second time. And then you put your money on the table, and you got it wrong the third time. That's Faso Collins. You don't have to pay under the county. Don't worry, we're going to cut your taxes under the county. By the way, we're going to transfer it to the state, and the state's going to raise your taxes. You're going to pay $2 billion to the state. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is a con game, and that is not smart. Public health matters more and more. If I sneeze, you catch a cold. World is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. We have diseases that get on a plane, develop in Africa, get on a plane, and they're here in 12 hours. Ask the mayor what we've had to deal with. Ebola virus coming to New York, what do? West Nile virus, what do? Legionnaires, what do? That world is getting smaller. From a public health matter, it's just not smart to be cutting back on the healthcare system. We have 3 million New Yorkers who would lose healthcare. Now, what do you think is going to happen to those 3 million people? I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're going to wind up going to the emergency rooms. And then we're going to pay 3 times more to take care of the people in the emergency rooms than we would have paid if we actually had given them health care. So it's not smart. And I'll tell you what's even worse. They know it's not smart. They don't want to do it themselves. They really don't want to do it. That's why they have to get them one by one, kicking and screaming, pulling, and everyone says the same thing. Well, this is going to hurt the people in my district. It's going to hurt the people in my state. But the political bosses are pulling them to do it. They know it's not smart. They know it's wrong. But they're putting their politics first. That's what this is about. They want to say they repealed Obamacare. Why? Because this was their campaign, this was their politics. They fought President Obama every day he was president, and they're not letting it go, and they want to now say they repealed what he did. It's politics over policy. It'll hurt this country, and they don't care because they're putting their politics first. Now, what makes it even worse is it's not just that it's not smart. It's not right. Why? Because they're not talking about changing health care for all Americans. They're talking about changing health care for poor Americans, right? Let's make no mistake. If you are rich, this bill doesn't go near you. If you are rich, you will still have the Cadillac of plans. This is about the poor. This is about seniors. This is about the disabled. This is about our veterans. That's who they don't want to pay for. And don't be surprised, because this is who they are. And this is what they believe. This is that ultra-conservative philosophy and ideology that has taken over Washington, and you see it all across the board. They don't want to pay for public schools because their kids are in private schools. They don't want to pay for housing assistance. They don't want to pay for college aid. They don't want to pay for heating assistance. They don't want to feed the hungry. They don't want to pay for affordable housing. They don't want to pay for child care. They don't want to help cities like New York. They want to do what is good for them. Their ideology is, I got mine, and I'm not going to help you get yours. Well, welcome to this great state of New York, because we believe something different. We have a different way that we look at the world. We believe that we're all in this together. We believe in the spirit of community, in mutuality. We believe in love and brotherhood and sisterhood. We believe in helping one another and standing up for one another. And we don't just say it, we do it. We do it. We do it. And we're going to do it. We have laws that say health insurance companies in the state of New York shall not discriminate, period. They must cover young and old. They must cover pre-existing conditions. They must cover contraception. They must cover abortion. They must cover people who have breast cancer. They must cover drug addiction. They must cover opioid abuse. And if they don't, it's very simple. Then they don't do business in the state of New York, period. Now, if the ultra-conservatives insist on passing this plan, even though they know it's wrong, even though they know it's not smart, even though they know it's not right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. First, we're going to stand up with our Attorney General, our lawyer for the state of New York, and we're going to sue the federal government, and we're going to say, we will not allow you to take health care from our people. We will not allow you to cut our Medicaid programming. We give $50 billion more to Washington than we get back. We're not going to allow you to jeopardize our health. Give our Attorney General a big round of applause. Second, if we do this, we're going to go all across the state. And we're going to inform everyone in New York before next November, because you know what happens next November. Well, we're going to inform everybody in New York exactly what their elected officials did. And we're going to elect New Yorkers who put New Yorkers first. And then we're going to stand up as proud New Yorkers and we're going to say to this entire nation, this was wrong. And they've headed this country in the wrong direction. And this mentality of doing just for yourself and disregarding community, disregarding the weak, disregarding the poor, this is not what made this country this country. That's not what made this state this state. It is not sustainable. We believe in rights for all. We believe in mutuality and obligation. And this state has always led the way. We led the way on women's rights at Seneca Falls. We led the way on workers' rights at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. We led the way to clean up the environment at Storm King. And we're going to lead the way on this issue because we're not going backwards. We're going forward together. Thank you and God bless you.
Please welcome Attorney General Eric Schneiderman.
All right, now that my client has gotten you riled up. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Eric Schneiderman. I am your lawyer. And I can't tell you how good you look out here today. The unity among New Yorkers is extraordinary here, and I have to thank Governor Cuomo for his leadership in bringing together an extraordinary coalition, united across every aspect of our state. to fight for the millions of New Yorkers we all care about and we all represent. So many colleagues in government, and there are in other rooms across the state many more colleagues in government from every level. I thank you for being here, for joining us. Senator Benjamin, I just want to say, I was in the state Senate, and I did paddle hard. Sometimes when I pulled my paddle out of the water, the end had been chewed off, but it's worth doing. So thank you, and thanks to our hosts again today, Ken Davis and our friends at Mount Sinai, a great New York institution, and the kind of institution we are fighting here to protect. It saves people's lives. It provides health care to tens of thousands. It teaches and trains people all over the world. It creates innovations that benefit millions. This is what we are fighting for. I want to thank all in labor. The New York State Nurses Association are here. Mario Salento. All of our brothers and sisters at 1199 SEIU who have been fighting for a more fair healthcare system for as long as I can remember, and also the leaders of those who run our hospitals and manage our hospitals, the leaders of the Greater New York Hospital Association, the Hospital Association of New York State. This is indeed a broad coalition, and this is the coalition we need to defeat the assault on the working men and women of New York, which we face today. Business, government, labor, upstate and down, all of New York united to seek justice, to seek rights, to seek a humane, affordable health care system for all. Now, my brothers and sisters, I've developed a bit of a reputation since January as a guy who sues Donald Trump and the federal government. Always on the merits, and boy, have we got a lot of merits on our side. Now, my lawsuits against the administration and congressional Republican leadership have not won me a lot of fans in Washington. They're not my concern. They're not the concern of any of the public officials who are here with you today. You are our concern. Protecting healthcare institutions, protecting healthcare jobs is a fight we cannot afford to lose, and it is a fight we on games of chance as well as games of skill pointed out. There is a ridiculous carve-out that targets New York and only New York, sponsored by two people who supposedly represent New Yorkers, Representatives Faso and Collins. This provision would not just upend our system, as the governor pointed out, and interfere with the way we allocate funds between county and state taxes. It actually would do that by cutting federal funding by $2.3 billion to force the state to change. That is right. These two congressmen would slash $2.3 billion in federal funding to New York, turning their backs on their constituents and our state in an attempt to score political points, suck up to their party voices in Washington. We are not going to let them do that and destroy the state. $2.3 billion, no way. And once again, the right wing wants to defund Planned Parenthood and roll back the clock on women's reproductive rights. Unconscionable. We are not going to let them do that, are we? Not in the state of New York. So let me be clear. Let me be clear, to the extent someone hasn't stepped on my punchline. If this inhumane bill ever becomes law, I will go to court to challenge it. I will sue the Trump administration and their congressional allies. To protect New Yorkers, all of us together will bring every lever at our disposal, because not only is this bill unconscionable, not only is this bill unjust, it is against the law. It is unconstitutional. And we intend to stop it in its tracks and prove that this is still a nation of the rule of law. This is still a nation where President Trump found out when he tried his unconstitutional immigration ban that even the president is not above the law. I am already leading a coalition of 16 attorneys general intervening to protect Obamacare subsidies that help make coverage affordable for low-income New Yorkers. We're in court now supporting the constitutionality of those subsidies. This bill, not supportable, not constitutional. Defunding Planned Parenthood, unconstitutional. The cynical Faso-Collins Amendment, unconstitutional. It is important to know that this bill is not only morally wrong, it's not only unconstitutional. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not even really a health care bill. This is not an agenda to improve health care. Here in New York, we've shown that Obamacare can work if you want to make it work, right? With the governor's leadership and the great leadership of our health commissioner and others, we have built one of the best healthcare exchanges in the country. Since 2013, we have cut our uninsured in half, from 10% up to 5% of our population. But as I say, the bill the Republicans are pushing is not about healthcare. It is about attacking poor and working people. It is about redistributing wealth from poor and working people who will have their health care cut, their expenses raised, to the very wealthy who are not touched at all. In fact, some of them will have their taxes cut. So I truly believe that this wrong bill, this unconscionable bill, this unjust bill, this unconstitutional bill will not ultimately become law. I believe the coalition we've gathered here today, and that the governor is going to be leading in the weeks ahead, and coalitions like this that will form and will look to New York and what we're doing by way of unity and leadership, we will stop this. Because right now, what's the result of this debate over health care? Obamacare more popular than ever. More Americans believe health care is a right, not a privilege, than ever. So New Yorkers are getting loud about this. There have been die-ins on the steps of Brooklyn Borough Hall, vigils at Trump Tower, raucous protests in front of congressional offices. They want to fight. We'll give them a fight. Because we will always win when we fight for people's health, people's lives, and people's rights. This week, we continue to build what is going to become a great American movement for justice and equality as people wake up to what this agenda is really about. And this week, we begin the process of sending this disgusting, anti-health care bill on a one-way trip to the trash heap of history. Fellow New Yorkers, listen to your lawyer. Actually, in this case, listen to your doctors as well. Stay strong, hydrate, stay visible, stay loud, and keep your eye on the ball. This is wrong. This is stupid. This is putting ideology ahead of evidence. It will always fail. It's up to us to see that it fails as soon as possible. Stay loud, stay visible. We will win this. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Is New York City in the house? Maybe we imported some people from the suburbs here. It's New York City in the house. There we go. Upstate 2. All of, amen, brother. All my brothers and sisters in labor. 1199 and NISNA and DC 37 and the AFL-CIO. You know something about the good fight, don't you? And you don't get scared when you're up against opposition. You fought for working people no matter what the odds. Well, we need you now. We need you now for a fight that will literally define the future of our city and our state and our nation. And I have to tell you, as we engage this fight, it's clear it's going to determine what kind of society we live in. You know, President Obama used everything he had to achieve the Affordable Care Act. He believed it was about our basic values. He believed this country couldn't be whole if some people had health care and other people were deprived of it. He was right. It wasn't the American way. President Obama gave everything he had, and he achieved something that had been attempted for almost 100 years. And he came under attack every step along the way. And as he was leaving office, he was still under attack for giving people health care. Now, brothers and sisters, then he left office and something really funny happened. Suddenly, the minute President Obama was out of office, people started to love the Affordable Care Act. I have never seen the approval rating for a piece of legislation rise up so quickly. And it's ironic, to say the least. But today, in this country, there's a majority of Americans who believe in the Affordable Care Act. So what's happening in the U.S. Senate today is spitting in the face of that majority, who actually have come to the conclusion that this country won't work if people don't have health care. It's as simple as that. Now, this fight is so important. And I want to say it is absolutely important that everyone be shoulder to shoulder. And I want to thank everyone who's here. You know, elected officials, plus labor, plus business, that's a powerful coalition. So let's thank the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, the speaker. Let's thank them all for their leadership. Let's thank these unions that are going to stand up and fight all the way through. And let's thank the leadership of our healthcare industry, because I'll tell you something. All over this country, they are challenging Republican senators in their states. And they're saying what you're doing is going to lead to the closure of our hospitals. And we're not going to stand for it. Let's thank the leaders of this industry who are standing up for the people they serve. This is not, tragically, what's going on in the U.S. Senate, this legislation before us, this is not a health care bill. This is a wealth care bill. Let's be clear. This bill is about giving tax cuts to the wealthy. It's about helping the 1% become even richer and more powerful. That's what's happening before our very eyes. And the people of this country don't believe in that. They see how unfair things are right now. And they know it can't go on this way. And so more and more you see these senators starting to sweat, because they go to those town hall meetings and they hear from their own constituents all over the country. In Arkansas, New Mexico, Arizona, you go all over the country. And you see this happening over and over again. People rising up. In fact, it's gotten so bad, a lot of these senators won't even have town hall meetings because they're scared to face the people they represent. I've talked to mayors all over the country, and I'm proud to say Democrats and Republicans alike, who are standing up and saying, this bill in the Senate is going to hurt our people. It's going to make our cities worst place to live. It's going to hurt our economy. It's going to take away something from people who are struggling to get by. Mayors of this country are banding together, and you see party affiliation being put aside. because it's something as basic as whether people are going to be able to live or die. And I want to make this point, and it's a sober point, but we have to be real about this. If this Senate bill passes, people will die. Americans will die. New Yorkers will die. That's the stakes we're talking about right here.
Keep us covered.
We have to. We have to keep everyone covered. That's what we believe in. So, my friends, there could not be more urgency than this moment. And what we're doing today is part of something that has to grow and grow and grow really quickly. And everybody has a stake in this, and everybody can make an impact. Every single person in this room can make an impact. There's this new thing they invented called the internet. I read about it recently. We now, my friends, we can reach every one of our friends, our family members all over the country instantly, right? You can find anybody you ever knew. You can find people you went to high school with, people you went to college with, people you don't want to be in touch with anymore. But they can find you, right? You can reach everyone. So here's what I say. We're going to fight in our own state, no doubt. But since right now, in these next days, the fight's in the U.S. Senate, we all know where those swing votes are from. Alaska and Maine and Arizona, Colorado, go down the list. If you know anybody, a friend, a colleague, coworker, a family member in any of those states, you need to reach them. You need to give them your passion. You need to tell them, you know what? We need you to stand up for all the rest of us. Call your senator. Tell them you're not going to accept tax cuts for the wealthy that take away health care from the rest of us. Because that's what's happening right now in the U.S. Senate. So, brothers and sisters, you've watched what's happened these last few weeks. Time's on our side, right? Every time they have to delay because they can't put together votes, more and more people get angry. More and more people get, as the young people say, woke. Woke. More and more people understand what the stakes are. And every single day you see it. More and more people coming out against it all over the country. Business and labor. Everyday people, all the different points along the spectrum, you hear people saying, wait a minute, this is not going to work. It's going to hurt us. It's going to set us back. Let's now act like our lives depend on it. Okay? Because they do. Let's fight it and let's beat it. Thank you. God bless you.
Please welcome Speaker Carl Hasty.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. And as I was just joking with the governor, when you're fourth, you got to figure out what to say that other people haven't said. So, of course, I got to pull a short straw by going fourth. But when you hear people speak, you start to reflect on the things that matter to you and the things that you remember. And Mayor de Blasio remarked about President Obama. And I remember being at a private dinner with President Obama, and someone said to him, why are you pushing so hard for health care in your first term? That's something you should do in your second term. And he said to the person who asked that question, he said, I'd rather be a one-term president and guarantee people health care than to be a two-term president and to be a failure. And wherever President Obama is right now, I know he's got to be sick to his stomach. Because there's certain things, we're all in politics and we all play these political games and things like that, but there's certain things that should not be in political games, and that's people's lives with their health care. And that's where we are today. When President Trump started his anti-immigrant stance, on my Facebook page, I posted a picture of Lady Liberty with her head down. I think this is another opportunity where Lady Liberty would surely have her head down. And I'm proud to be here with my assembly colleagues who are here, right here in the front, because healthcare should be a right. We're the greatest country in the nation, but we should all be ashamed of ourselves if this bill happens to pass. Mayor de Blasio called it the wealth care bill. I call it the health scare bill. Or you could call it the health scare shill, because that's what they're trying to do with American lives. And what are they talking about? New York, with all of our wonderful hospitals that are here, we have the greatest healthcare delivery system in the nation. And to punish us because we deliver the best healthcare is unconscionable. It's going to be cruel to deny people coverage. And even Senator Cruz, he says, well, what he wants to do in his amendment will have us pay more, but you'll have less. And I say, well, what good is having health coverage if it covers nothing? And to the Collins-Faso, I even saw Congressman Faso was in Albany for a dinner where a lot of former assembly members come, and I said to him, I understand that people may want to punish the blue states, I get it. But I said, but Congressman, how could you, and as a Republican representing a blue state, even believe in doing something like this? And he really didn't have an answer for me, but he says, oh, it's not going to be that bad. Well, it is going to be that bad. And this is a problem I'm going to have to, if this passes, is a problem I'm going to have to solve with the governor, because now it's great to go back and tell the people outside of the city of New York, don't worry, it's going to save $2.3 billion of your property taxes, but they're not telling people, one, the state's going to have to come up with this money, or two, what's going to happen to the hospitals when that money goes away. And they haven't even said to the property taxpayers, don't worry, there's a requirement that 100% of what the state now doesn't have to pay is going to go back in your pocket. So, Governor, you were aptly saying that this is nothing more than a shell game or three-card Monte. So we have to tell the Republicans that they have to be Republicans when we get to the voting on this bill next week. You know, we tried to make some light moments here, but this is really, as the mayor said, this is really about our lives depending on it. There's nothing more important than making sure that people have good health. And we are. This is going to be a rough couple of weeks, but we have to stand together. And some of these senators know they may be paying a political price if this goes, and we should try to remind all people around this country that there should be a price to pay if you're going to be cruel with people's lives. God bless you, and thank you for fighting together.
Please welcome back to the stage Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard today, we are on a mission. As you heard from our governor, he's willingly taking on this cause, joined by our incredible state and city leaders. And I want to thank all of you, because each and every one of you know how high the stakes are. As you heard, people's lives literally are on the line. So thank you on behalf of all New Yorkers for joining in this fight, and we will not stop until we succeed. Thank you very much.
This day at the carnival, but they'll never win you back. I'll see you tonight.